Brilliance Audio presents One Last Summer by Victoria Connelly, performed by Jan Kramer. The priory stood at the end of the peninsula like a great stone guardian watching over the land and sea, its 13th century tower thrusting up into the blue sky. Built by the Benedictine monks and worshipped in for centuries, it had fallen under the reign of Henry VIII and had later become a farmhouse. A large Georgian wing had been added to its west side as the rest of the building had been left to decay. It wasn't until the mid-20th century, after another period of abandonment, that a successful businessman bought it, throwing all his wealth at its crumbling walls and collapsed fan vaulting and flying buttresses. For a while it flourished. It was the kind of building that needed people in it, and a little bit of chaos, perhaps, and the businessman gave it exactly what it wanted, filling it with an enormous family and hosting parties in its cavernous rooms. It was on his death that it came into the hands of a trust which preserved old buildings and let them out as holiday rentals. And that's how Harriet Greenleaf found it. She'd been looking for something special for her holiday, something that would take her breath away and make her heart soar. She'd attended an open day to view it, wandering around its cool corridors, admiring how many arches there were and how their express purpose seemed to be to frame yet more arches. She trod carefully up its spiral staircases, loving how very like the inner workings of a shell they were, and her hand flew out to touch each wonderful wooden door with its metal studs and wrought iron handles. The furniture in each of the rooms was substantial, traditional, no-nonsense pieces in dark English oak, and the curtains and cushions were pretty but not overly so. There were pictures on the walls, old-fashioned prints and portraits of people from the past in frilly collars and funny hats, and large mirrors reflected back the light from the enormous windows, filling the rooms with a silvery quality. There was a long refectory table in the kitchen, flanked by 2 benches. It could easily seat a dozen people, Harry thought. And all around the priory there were endless secret places to just sit, squashy sofas where one might curl up and read a book, or wide windowsills to perch on and gaze out into the garden. Then there was the oldest part of the building, part cloister, part tower. How often did one get to live within such ancient walls? And how many people could boast sharing their holiday home with gargoyles? The garden was stunning. The borders were full of late tulips and early roses, and there were great terracotta pots full of flowering rosemary and chives. Through an old wooden gate, the garden opened into a little meadow yellow with buttercups, and beyond that was an orchard full of fruit trees and a stream whose borders were laced with cow parsley. There was even a modest-sized swimming pool in the south garden, its winter cover pulled back to reveal aquamarine depths. Harry sighed in wonder and delight, but worried just for a moment if she could justify spending so much money on hiring such a place. But she batted the thought away as soon as it entered her head. If not now, then when? The answer was never. She knew that. No, she deserved this treat, she told herself. This was the very thing that made life worth living. She found a bench to sit on in the orchard, and marvelled at how enclosed the place felt, surrounded as it were by the trees. It was a world of its own, cut off from the outside. She liked that. The priory was a little piece of paradise. More than that, there was a special kind of quietness that seemed to seep out of the stones. This place, this very special place, was just what she needed. Of course, she'd known the moment she'd seen the photo of it online and made the booking earlier that year, but walking through its ancient corridors and inhaling the scent of wisteria in the garden made her absolutely certain that this was the place she wanted to be for her very last holiday.